What's up, peeps? Welcome back. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benz, and thank you so much for joining us for our YouTube edition of the AEW Insider. Remember, I do a wrestling cast and a movie podcast once a week. That's usually during the week. And on the weekends, I do a YouTube video for wrestling and like Tuesday, a movie video. So check it out because there's going to be wrestling news here from earlier in the week I'm not reporting on because I already did it on the podcast. So remember, it's the AEW Insider on all podcasting platforms, plus Facebook and YouTube, and it's the AEW Insider 1 as a number 1 on Twitter. All right, let's get to the show. This week for AEW news. Jack Hager had his second Bellator contest the other night, and it ended in a no contest. He kneed his opponent twice in the nuts by mistake, so the referee stopped the match. An appearance at the match were his Inner Circle boys, LAX and Sammy Guevara, plus WWE legend Dave Batista. He took a pic with the AEW boys. The next day, Hager took to Twitter, and this is what he had to say about the match being stopped. Say what you will about last night, but I call BS. The guy would actually need a pair of balls for me to hurt them. He was scared and didn't want to fight. Honestly, this is all just nuts. So that's pretty good. But I mean, I kind of agree. He did have him. He did need him. He didn't mean to. And when he hit the guy in the nuts, you should have seen the guy's face. Like, he overplayed it way too much. So I think I agree with Hager on that one. Now, we talked about ratings dropping for AEW and NXT last week. Well, AEW is going to switch it up some. They noticed during the squash match, which is the AKA bullshit match, like with a really popular person or team against some scrubs, that the ratings did drop 5%. So they will have squash matches towards the end of the segment instead of the start of it. AEW has just signed former Olympic boxer Anthony Ogogo, and Cody called him their first developmental talent. He already made an appearance at an indie show I seen. He showed up there with MJF, and he knocked MJF out with one punch. It was all fake. On Twitter, MJF is like, nice shot, lucky shot, blah, blah, blah. La Champion, Chris Jericho, did an interview, and he talked about the whole NXT being minor league, Vince McMahon, and this is what he had to say. We're not at war with NXT. This is going to make people mad. And I'm not being an asshole, but NXT is still the minor league, no matter how you slice it. And those guys are still unknown performers. It's not a competition to us. I knew we win because we have more star power. When you look at the end of the first week of TV, who was out there at the end? Chris Jericho, we know him. Dustin Rhodes, we know him. Jon Moxley, we know him. He used to be another name, but we know who that is. Cody is out there, Pac is out there, there's Jack Swagger, Jim Ross is commentating. I know these guys. Tony Schiavone and Justin Roberts, we know them. These are all people who have done WrestleMania on our TV. On NXT, these guys I've never heard of. This is not cutting them down. They are great performers, but to a mainstream fan, they don't know Kyle O'Reilly or Johnny Gargano or Ciampa, even the Velveteen Dream. Our competition is Raw, is SmackDown, is Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and all those guys. I think it was a stroke of genius by Vince to put NXT up against us because it took the focus off the main roster, us against like Raw and SmackDown. He put us against the minor league, NXT. I think he's absolutely right with that one. Some WWE news. Hulk Hogan got into a verbal altercation with the fan. Hulk Hogan was at a lounge. I'm not saying he was having some drinks, but he was picking up food. He had a bag of food in his hand. This fan would not stop bugging him for autographs, videos, pictures, what have you. Hogan told the guy to calm down because he didn't know who he was dealing with, and then things escalated quickly. This is what Hogan said. You know what, brother? I got a right to have a few moments by myself. Let me tell you something, brother. The last time I had a Shirley Temple was when me and your wife got together. Yeah, Hogan's crazy. I don't know where the Shirley Temple thing came up. It might have came up at the bar. Who knows? Blah, blah, blah. But Hogan's getting in beef. At least it wasn't over him being racist. Now, I have been covering the upcoming podcast. It's going to be hosted by Corey Graves. It's called After the Bell. Well, some of the lineup of guests have been released, and you can tell that they are taking this podcast seriously. Some of the upcoming guests are going to be Triple H, Ric Flair, Seth Rollins, Bayley, And the show's supposed to give a closer, edgier look at their guests and the WWE. Corey Graves is actually teasing Rollins about asking him about Kenny Omega. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, I'm obviously a podcast guy, so I'm excited about it. A few days ago, Randy Orton teased jumping to AEW. He took a pic in front of the sign that said Elite, and it said 2020, which is 2020. His 10-year contract is up. Jericho, Cody, and a bunch of other people replied, including WWE's Revival. They posted a pic when they teamed up with Orton saying, "This is what it should be. It might be one day." Orton responded to the pic, 2020. Now, people think this is a bargaining chip by Orton, you know what I mean? Or is he really going to jump ship? Because remember, months ago, I reported he was talking to Will Ospreay, New Japan, and all that, and he keeps saying 2020. So right now, it came out. This is a fact. He's making $3 million a year, and that's minimum, like the least he can make pretty much. And he has a less than house show schedule, so he's not even at the house shows that much. They will offer him a shitload more to stay, but to Orton right now, is it about getting the money, even though you have so much you'll never be able to spend? Or is it about doing some stuff you want to do before it's too late to do it in your career? So we'll see what happens next year with the Viper. I thought that Friday night's episode of WWE Backstage after SmackDown was really good. Finn Balor did make an appearance, and they talked about his heel turn. He pretty much said that the Prince is back, and that's returning to his Bullet Club persona. He was the first leader of the Bullet Club. He's the guy who made the Bullet Club, and over in Japan, he was Prince Devitt, a real rock and roller. So we're going to have an evil Balor, and I can't wait to see who he chooses for his squad. On next week's episode of Backstage, they're going to have New England Patriots star Ron Gronkowski and 15-time world champ John Cena. Bray Wyatt brought back his Firefly Funhouse on SmackDown. You know they couldn't stop it. The outcry from the public was too much. And good news is that Ramblin' Rabbit was resurrected from the dead. And bad news is that he was eaten minutes later by Vulture. So we got to see what happens with Ramblin' Rabbit in the future. NXT Cruiserweight Champion Lio Rush has a hip-hop album that will be released Monday, November 11th. I'll just leave that right there for you peeps. It is rumored that Matt Sydal, a.k.a. Evan Bourne, is coming back to WWE. And this makes it a little bit more true to me anyway. He's actually been advertised to appear on an upcoming Evolve show under his name, Evan Bourne. So WWE's been working with Evolve, which we know, and there's no way he'd be able to use that name unless he was with them. So Evan Bourne is back in WWE, and that's great because that dude is a fucking great performer, and they were letting him go because of the drug policy, but literally, it was fucking weed. He's a pothead. Get over it, boys. Probably got his marijuana card like, suck a dick. All right, also at the Evolve show, there's going to be Gargano, Adam Cole, and others. It was announced that on December 5th, NXT will host its first ever all-women's pay-per-view. I think that's really good. I enjoyed WWE's pay-per-view Evolution last year. It doesn't seem like they're going to do it again this year, but at least we'll get one on NXT, and you know NXT will do it right. They've been saying that Edge will return at the Saudi Arabia show, but it's not true. He's out there filming a movie right now, but people close to him are saying he's training like a maniac for a WrestleMania return. My daughter and I are stoked for the Rated R Superstars return to the WWE. Cain Velasquez, Mysterio, and Mysterio's son Dominic were brutally attacked Friday night on SmackDown. To me, it was a great fucking segment. Brock fucked them up old school style. I dug it a lot. Speaking of Cain, he has announced that he signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal with WWE. So it seems he's going to be sticking around, which I'm not too excited about, but hey, good for him. After Brock did attack him, Cain did take online, and he sent Brock a message. This is what he had to say to the Beast Incarnate. A second attack on my familia is going to get you a second scar, Brock Lesnar. You remember how it hurt the first time. It looks like ex-NXT and WWE star Adam Rose is getting back to his old, like, Leo Kruger gimmick. Well, not even gimmick, the roots in his body shape. You know Adam Cole. If you watch him from NXT, it's the rosebuds. He used to party. He looked like he weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. Well, before that, he was Leo Kruger, and he was way, way bigger, but they made him change that. He just did an indie event, even though he said he retired from wrestling like last year or this year. He did an independent event, and people are shocked at how big he is. This is what he had to say. My weight gain has caused some interest, so let me explain. Before coming to WWE, I weighed 236 pounds. When I performed as Leo Kruger, my weight was around 225. When I made the transition to Adam Rose, I was asked to refrain from weightlifting, so the character would not look like a pro wrestler at all, and also to get as far away as the Kruger character as possible. My weight at Adam Cole was about 201 pounds. Unfortunately, as everyone who knows, while in the WWE, I developed a drug addiction which led to me losing considerable weight and getting sick. At my worst, I weighed 176 pounds in the WWE. I was living on a smoothie a day, barely ate. After a long stint in rehab, thanks to the WWE, I was able to clean up and get my life back together. Currently, I weigh 250 pounds and feel good. I weight train religiously and eat food again. Probably too much food, but I enjoy it, so I'm not going to stop. I am happy and on a much better track. Thank you. I've always been a fan of Adam Rose, even when he was at NXT as Leo Kruger. He's awesome. I wish him the best. People like him did get screwed. They did fucked up shit in their personal lives, but all of them, pretty much besides him, came up that it was not guilty. Adam Rose, Rich Swann, Enzo, they all fell victim. Luke Harper took to Instagram and posted a message to his longtime partner Eric Rowan, since they were split up in a draft. Was not kayfabe, it was legit. Here is what Harper had to say to his bestie of 8 years. Leave the memories alone, Larry. Until the next time, Big Red. Eric Rowan deserves all the success that he achieves, and for some reason, no one was willing to give him credit or believe in him. Well, I think he's made you all believers now. He never needed me, but somehow for the last 8 years, we've always found our way into each other's corners. I know he's going to tear it up Monday night, Rowan. Let him talk, let him kill, let him be happy. I cherish you as a friend, big man, despite our rough start. Ha ha. I'll see you down the road. So that must be when they were first put together, they didn't like each other at all and probably bumped heads. But that's good stuff. Luke Harper will leave as soon as he gets a chance. He owes them time for his injury. Eons ago, I reported that they were eyeing John Cena for the title role of the cult video game hero, Duke Nukem. Well, it's not a rumor anymore, it is confirmed. John Cena will play Duke Nukem in an upcoming live-action film. Shorty G, a.k.a. Chad Gable, did an interview with Sports Illustrated. He talked about Vince helping him adjust to the Shorty G gimmick and his upcoming Crown Jewel match. This is what Gable had to say. Vince is someone who has helped me a lot, said the former tag team champion. He started giving me ideas and explained why a lot of my really serious ideas weren't working. I started to understand his vision, and now I'm off and running with this new character. I'm going to have a great time with it, and I can't wait to sink my teeth into it. They asked who the person was on the current roster that Shorty G wants to fight the most. He said, there are so many guys on our roster, I like to wrestle, but I've always looked to Daniel Bryan as my dream opponent. We have a similarity in size and style, and I've always admired him and looked up to his style of wrestling. I would love to tear it up with him. And about his upcoming Crown Jewel match. Gable said that this match is going to be a special part of my career, he said. I always think about the battle royals at these big shows. I've always been in those matches. It's an honor to be a part of these shows, but what I really wanted is a marquee match. I'm grateful that I am gaining some momentum, and WWE put their stamp of approval on me by making me part of this show. It's a confirmation that I'm doing things right. I've always been a fan of Chad Gable. I didn't know him before WWE, I won't front, but on NXT, when he was solo with his style, I'm glad he's getting his due. WWE Crown Jewel Saudi Arabia event will be held on a WWE network this Thursday Eastern Time at 1 p.m. I will be working at the time, but still watching, and I will watch it again later, and we'll talk about it next week, peeps. NXT and ex-New Japan star Jordan Miles is livid at WWE merchandise. They made his first t-shirt, and it's crazy shirt. It's all black, it's got big red lips and big white shiny teeth that spell out his name. If you know him, he calls himself like an anime character. He is black, and his smile, he's got some of the biggest teeth, biggest smile ever, and they're very white. But he's saying that they're doing that, it's racist. He's calling bullshit. He said he talked to the merch guys about it, and they said it was supposed to be a Rolling Stones tongue logo. He said he's not buying it. I thought it was a story, but I really don't think it is. You got to see him on Twitter. He's out there fucking tearing, and he might get in trouble for that shit too. Impact Wrestling. Impact is definitely trying to keep the stars that they have from signing anywhere else. They offered a few people on their roster pay raises to keep them happy. Some people who got raises are the tag team champions, The North, X-Division champion Ace Austin, also the Radicals, Jessica Havoc, plus lower and mid-card talents. It was reported that one wrestler broke into tears when they were told about their raise. My dog Sammy Callahan gave an interview with Sportskeeda, and they asked him a bunch of questions. This is what the should-be Impact champion of the world had to say. On the Impact Wrestling roster, I think it's great. I think that Impact Wrestling is a true buffet of professional wrestling right now. You have legends and up-and-comers. You have the stars of the future. You have some of the best current wrestling stars in the entire planet right now. Right now, the Impact roster, I would put it up against any roster on the planet. You got guys like RVD, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer that are up top and doing these old school things. And they're huge legends that people still love to see. On the other hand, you have people like the Rascals, people like Ace Austin that are absolutely killing it right now and are revolutionary in this business. And one day they will go down as being some of the biggest legends of professional wrestling. He was asked about what the women of Impact and how they would go against matches with men in the roster. Me and Talia Valkyrie's match from Lucha Underground doesn't get pressed for how good it was. It's right up there with any matches with Tessa Blanchard. I think pretty much all the women in the locker room could step up and have matches with any of the guys. I don't believe in 2019, if you want to be equal, it's not an intergender wrestling anymore. It's just professional wrestlers. They have women, Jessica Havoc, Jordan Grace, Rosemary, Tennille Dashwood. They have one of the best women divisions of all of professional wrestling right now. All right, and some CM Punk news real quick. CM Punk did a sit-down with GQ magazine. He gave his comments on wrestling matches from movies. Like he sat there watching The Wrestler, Ready to Rumble, Fighting With My Family, what have you, and he gave his input about how real it was, and a bunch of other stuff. It was really good watch. So check it out on our Twitter or our Facebook. And maybe this is the reason that CM Punk has not gone through with signing with WWE yet, is because he came out and said his price. He said he wants $25 million to return. Anywhere from $20 to $25 million in cash and or stocks. He knows that these guys are paid huge for the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. Like they give Brock Lesnar and like Undertaker like 10, 15, 20 million, literally, because they got $1 billion from that deal. He said, I'm just not there for one pay-per-view. I'm there long term. So let's hope they agree on something, peeps. I watched CM Punk's new movie last night. His real name is Phillip Brooks. He's the main star of a horror flick. It's called The Girl on the Third Floor. At first, I didn't know what to expect from it, and you know what I mean? But I have to say that I really, really liked it a lot. It was very well done. I like how it was shot. It flowed really well, and it's fucked up. So people, definitely check out Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk's new flick, The Girl on the Third Floor. I will talk a bit more about it on my movie show this week. All right, peeps. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm working my balls off, man, as you can see. I got the wrestling podcast and YouTube video once a week. I got the movie podcast and movie video once a week. I also throw in some bonuses. This morning I posted part 1 of the top 10 fucked up families in horror films. Part 2 is going to be coming very soon. So please, man, the podcast is killing it. YouTube's doing way better. Subs are up. I can't thank you guys enough. Check us out on all social media, on all podcasting platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, what have you. Plus on Facebook and YouTube, we're under the AEW Insider. And on Twitter, we're the AEW Insider 1. I'll see you guys in a couple days with the podcast, peeps. Like, share, subscribe, show your brother some love. As always, I'm your host, Lee Benson. We'll see you guys soon on the next episode of the AEW Insider. Ciao, peeps.